Previewing week 4 in college football here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and we're talking right now with John Rothschild, returning guest. His website is safestwagering.net, and he's written a book called Rothschild's Guide to Football Handicapping. John, thanks for being here once again.
Thanks. The game we're looking at this week, again, not a marquee game, but we're looking for value and one we think we can win. The Utah Utes against the Arizona State Sun Devils. Again, this is a great weekend for football. We've sort of gotten our Division 1A, Division 2 teams out, and we sort of know which teams might be upset and which weren't. Out of my book, there's some key angles that I like to use. One of them is looking at a coaches conference locally. This week, I watched Arizona State's coach, Todd Graham. He was really upbeat, but you could just sort of see in his eyes and hear the inflection in his voice. He had a couple concerns about his team. One was that his secondary is very thin. He's actually thinking of converting one of his running backs to a cornerback. And that his team, although they did pretty well the last few weeks, has had a lot of mental errors. Arizona State beat Northern Arizona, and they beat Illinois. They have a top running back named Cameron Marshall, who has not been playing that well this year. He did have 1,000 yards last year. One really good thing about Arizona State, and I think we're going to see a lot of them in the future, they've had very strong recruiting. A couple of negatives. They were pretty close to Missouri, although they lost, but Missouri had a big lead. They relaxed, and that's when Arizona came back. Arizona's only got 10 returning starters. They are really young. I don't know if this matters, but at the end of last year, they ran out of gas. They lost their last 5 games. Now for Utah, they have some real nice positives. They beat BYU last week. They actually opened up a 24-7 lead. They're really stronger than their stats show. They relaxed at the end. BYU climbed back in, but Utah still pulled it out. Their coach, Kyle Whittingham, sort of got on them. He let them know that it's really a little bit better guys to celebrate after the game instead of during the game. They have a second-string quarterback who's been playing very well. His name is John Hayes. He replaced Jordan Wynn, who unfortunately retired. I guess that's the word that he used. I don't know how you retire from anything at 21 years old. But he was a very good quarterback who went through 3 shoulder surgeries. Looks like this week they're going to have one of their really good running backs, John White, back. He gained 1,500 yards last year. Something kind of neat, Coach Whittingham, for one reason or another, switched his entire O-line around last week. They performed really well. I would assume that this week they're just going to be better. Here's what I see. Arizona State has won by an average of 44 points a game at home this year, but they played really weak teams, which I think may give the line a little value for Utah. Arizona State's top 6 tacklers have gone, and although Utah lost to Utah State, which is supposed to be kind of a poor team, Utah State's looking pretty good this year. Statistically, their defense is ranked 7th in the country. If not for an errant field goal, they would have beat Wisconsin last week. And Utah almost did beat Utah State. They tied them after being down a lot and then just lost one of those crazy overtimes games. They also have a very good field goal kicker and a lot of guys coming back. They have their linebacker, Brian Bleshin, coming back, and they have 18 returning starters. They're mature. They make a lot less mistakes. Arizona could be really good. They're young. They have made a lot of costly mistakes, even though they've won games by a lot, and they've had a lot of turnover, actually 7th in the country this year in turning the ball over. So I like Utah +7. I wouldn't be surprised if Utah wins the game straight out.
Wow, interesting call. Yeah, because Utah's playing, they're tinkering with their offensive line. They did play well. Now they're going on the road. 7 is a lot of points, but Arizona State, their offense looks like it can be explosive. If Utah wins this game outright or gets an easy cover, I will be very impressed. John Rothschild, thanks.
Thanks.